You have to discipline yourself when nobody's watching. You have to discipline yourself when nobody's watching because, bro, in your relationship with God, that's how you're going to go to the next level. When you discipline yourself when nobody's watching, that's how you're going to reach the new heights in your discipleship and your walk with God. And you have to commit to it. But yeah, if you guys are new to this channel, my name is Jason. I'm here from Death to Life podcast, bringing people from death in this world to life in Christ. And let's get straight into the video, man. So today's title, like I was saying, man, you got to discipline yourself when nobody's watching because, bro, one thing I realized that disciplining yourself when nobody's watching is the formula to real growth. That you have to realize, bro, disciplining yourself when nobody's watching, that is the formula to real growth. If you think that, okay, I'm going to put on a mask, I'm in front of these people, because even a lot of people, they tend to do that, man. They tend to be around you see a lot of anointed people on just Instagram. You see a lot of anointed people, and you're like, man, how do they get to that place? I'm jealous. But you know there's literally one key to reaching that new height in your life. That one key unto reaching new prosperity. It's disciplining yourself when nobody's watching. It's saying, okay, man, instead of indulging in a pornography right now, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pray and I'm going to fast and I'm going to kill my flesh. Okay, instead of going to the club and seeking this girl and letting her twerk on me, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stay home. I'm going to get in my word and I'm going to actually do things that benefit my future because a lot of people, you know what God is saying? He's saying a lot of people want the things of discipline, but they don't want to put in the work. They do not want to put in the work because you know what greatness entails. One thing, greatness entails and it requires one thing. It requires faith. It requires working because, bro, you have to discipline yourself when nobody's watching. Let's think about one character in the Bible, right? Jesus, right? You know what Jesus did when nobody's watching? He was like, okay, I felt this power leave from me. I felt me going to this person and preaching to them and preaching to these many people. Man, I felt drained. But bro, you know what he did when nobody's watching? He got up at 4 a.m. Let's think about Peter and Jesus in the boat, right? Jesus was out on that water. What was it, 4 a.m., 3 a.m., disciplining. You know what he was doing in the spirit? That's what Jesus was doing. He was walking on water, practicing his spirit, getting disciplined in his walk, getting up and talking to God when he didn't feel like it. You know, a lot of us are like Peter. We see people that we're like, man, we don't see them. We see them out in the water and we see their glorified state. We see them at that height. And we're like, Peter, we're like, man, how do they do that? Man, I can't walk in this. If I walk in this water, I'll drown. But you have to realize, you have to discipline yourself when nobody's watching. Because to be able to reach that height, to be able to go to that next level, you know what Jesus had to do? 3 hours a day, retreat, go to the mountain, pray. When he was in the boat, retreat, go pray. And it's like, man, a lot of people, they want the stage, but they don't want the discipline. See, man, you have to discipline yourself when nobody's watching because the habits that you practice in secret, they'll manifest in public. And all the word manifest means is to come forth, right? So if you're by yourself and you're watching pornography and then you go in front of these crowds of people and then, man, you try to have a good conversation with them, you try to have good dialect with them, what's going to happen? Your mind's going to be set on lust, not on the person. It's the same thing with working out, man. If you at home and you sitting on the couch all day eating Doritos and your brothers, some dudes hit you up, they're like, man, you know, you my brother, man, let's hit the gym right quick. And then you pull up to the gym and you can't even bench up one plate. You can't even do a muscle up or a pull up, man. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but man, we have to do and discipline ourselves when nobody's watching because when we go out into the public spaces, man, we'll show people what a disciplined walk looks like. Because you know what Jesus said? He said, if you want to be my, Matthew 16:24, if you want to be my follower, right, you have to discipline yourself. You have to pick up your cross and deny yourself because a lot of people, they want the stage, but they don't want to deny themselves. They don't want to deny themselves, man. And one thing I realize is that who you are when nobody's watching is who you really are. Who you are when nobody's watching is who you really are, bro. If I'm behind the scenes, right? If I'm behind the scenes and I'm gossiping about another person, if I'm behind the scenes and I'm not even seeking God and being disciplined in my prayer life, nobody's perfect, but what if I'm not disciplined in my prayer life, right? That is who I really am. That is who I really am, bro, because God, He isn't impressed by your public image. He weighs your private devotion. Isn't that deep? I'm going to say that one more time. God, He isn't impressed by your public image. He's impressed by your private devotion. He puts weight, He puts emphasis on your private devotion, because you know what God sees? He sees what people aren't going to see. Those times where you were faithful to, those times where you're like, man, God, I feel like giving up, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep fasting. God, I feel like giving up at this work, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep working. And it's like, man, we can look somewhere, some way on social media, because even I look at certain people on social media, certain people that are rock stars, that are rappers, right? They have all this success, billionaires, all the success and all the fame, but then behind closed doors, you know what they really are? They're really sad. They're really depressed, and it's like, man, that's why we need God in our lives, because, man, we could put on a public image, but God, He really weighs our private devotion. God, He really weighs who we are on the inside. God, He really weighs, right, who we are. And it's like, man, a lot of people are putting on a fake, and it's like, man, you got to discipline yourself when nobody's watching, bro, because you have to. You have to, man. And see, man, many want to appear spiritual, but discipline in the secret is where true transformation happens. Discipline in the secret is where true transformation. Discipline in the secret is where that next level of faith and glory comes, because a lot of us, we want the stage, but we don't want private devotion, man. When you pray, study, fast, resist sin, and worship without an audience, that's where spiritual roots grow deep. If you ever wonder, man, how did that millionaire get like that, bro? How did somebody that's so successful, somebody that's so anointed, how did they get to that level? You know what it took? I see this brother in Christ, Chris P. A shout out to him, bro. I see him every single day on his story, every single day on his story, every single day. 5:30 a.m. I'm in my Bible. 6 a.m. I'm working out. And it's like, man, a lot of us, and bro, it's viral. 200K views, 50K subs. And it's like, man, a lot of us, we want the outcome, but we don't want the discipline. Isn't that so deep, man? We want that outcome, right? But we don't want the disciplines, because, see, one revelation that I realized is that God, He rewards in public what you build with Him in private. In the Bible, it literally says, right, seek your Father in secret that He may, I think that's Matthew 6 or 7. Seek your Father in secret that He may reward you openly. And it's like, man, a lot of us, we want this open rewards, but we don't want the discipline in secret. And the one key to get to that next level in our walk, that one key to reach spiritual heights, is to be disciplined. Wake up at 5 a.m., read our Bible when we don't feel like it. And it's like, man, you have to discipline yourself when nobody's watching, because God, He really values it. And if you guys like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. It's been Jason, and I'm out. Peace.